What do farm owners, off-road enthusiasts, and fleet truck owners all have in common? Well guys, they don't give a sheesh about bells and whistles in their trucks. Now, for these people, Ford has got them covered because what we have here is the base model Ford Ranger XL 4x4 with a manual transmission, and in this video, we get to check it out. Let's do this. Hello guys, I'm Reagan and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I invite you to click that subscribe button for your regular dose of Philippine automotive content. If you're my subscriber already, well, sit back, relax, click that like button and enjoy the show. Also, special thanks to Ford BGC for providing the Base-Spec Ranger XL 4x4 manual transmission to do this truck feature. If you are within the area and you need any Ford, head on down here and check them out. For any inquiries, you may also contact the person in my pinned comment below. Oh yes, and if you find this video useful and you want to express your thanks, well, you can also click that super thanks button and I will highly appreciate it. Now, if you strip down a mid-size pickup truck to what it truly is at its core, well, it's still a workhorse vehicle that's meant to go through rough terrain, and it's meant to be a capable business partner when you run your business. Now, mid-size trucks have evolved through the years to become lifestyle vehicles, and most of them are seen parked in mall parking areas, but there's still a huge subset of people that see these vehicles for what they truly are, and that is as workhorse partners. Now guys, if you're also an off-road enthusiast, you wouldn't want to pay more than you should for your mid-size pickup truck, and usually the vehicle of choice would be the basic model in the lineup that comes equipped with a 4x4 system. Now the good news here guys is this Base-Spec Ranger XL here with a 4x4 and a 6-speed manual comes in at the lowest retail price in the local Ranger lineup, which is 1,198,000 Philippine pesos. Now of course, Ford had to strip off a lot of goodies and bells and whistles in this truck to bring it down to that price level, but the important thing here is the mechanical bits that makes this truck a capable partner still remains with this vehicle. Now when you look at the front fascia of the Ranger XL, well, there's really not much to talk about here. It gets the same design and look as the rest of the Ranger lineup, although, well, we lose on the C-shaped LED DRLs, naturally. The headlight units here are just halogen, and we also don't get any fog lights here on the front bumper. Now, the front grille is also just a regular black plastic front grille, but if you're a farm owner or you're a fleet truck owner, you don't really give an F about what the front fascia looks, as long as it works. Now, if you're an off-road enthusiast, you also don't give an F about this. Why? Because you could easily replace the front bumper with something that's more off-road oriented. You could install a metal skid plate there. And as for the fog lights, well, it's so easy to just put a pair of LED fog lights and call it a day. Being the Base-Spec Ranger in the local lineup, well, this XL is notably missing some bits and pieces, which if you're a fleet truck owner, a farm owner, or an off-road enthusiast who loves to modify the rides, yeah, it doesn't really matter at all, guys. Well, the first thing that you'll notice is we don't get a step board here, which makes this Ranger XL look a little bit taller than the higher trim Rangers. That's not an issue, guys, as I said, because if you're an off-road enthusiast, well, you'll probably install a set of metal rocker bars right there for off-road use. Now, another thing that I notice here is, well, the side mirrors are just in black plastic, as well as the door handles, which again, my friends, is not really a big issue. Now, the Ranger XL also just gets a set of 16-inch steelies here, which, yeah, it's not an issue. If you're an off-road enthusiast, just change them to something yummier from the aftermarket. Or, yeah, if you're a fleet truck owner or a farm owner, yeah, you don't really give a damn about your wheels. Now, the good thing here, though, is the mechanical bits behind those wheels are the same as the higher trim XLS and XLT. You see, the XL still gets ventilated disc brakes up front, drums at the back, and for the suspension, well, it still rides on a MacPherson front suspension and leaf springs at the back. Now, one of the good news here, though, is despite being the basis of the base models in the local lineup, this Ranger XL still gets that nifty step box that can be found at the side of the truck bed, which will make it easier for you to gain access to the said truck bed. Here at the back, well, you'll see that the Ranger XL, being the base model, doesn't get an extended rear bumper here. As in, it doesn't really get a bumper, so yeah, there's that. Now, another thing that you don't get here is a reverse camera, as well as, well, assistance for your lift gate. Now, that's not really something that you'd expect, especially in this base trim. As you can see, guys, we have this lift gate open, and as you can see, there's also no bed liner here, but the size of the truck bed still remains the same as the other Rangers in the lineup, which means that this is wider by 50 millimeters or 2 inches, so you can haul larger stuff in the Ranger XL. Now, as for the payload and towing capacities, well, I still don't have the official figures yet, but given that this is a 4x4 pickup truck and it also has a 6-speed manual transmission, I could say that this Ranger XL will probably have the highest payload capacity as well as towing capacity in the entire lineup. Guys, here's what I love about this Base-Spec Ranger XL. You see, it gets the same engine and transmission as the higher trim and the pricier Ford Rangers in the local lineup, except for the Ranger Wildtrak 4x4. You see, this is a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo diesel motor that puts out 168 horsepower and 405 Newton meters of torque. Now, all that power can be sent to all 4 wheels via a 6-speed manual transmission. Now, here's the thing, guys. If you're an off-road enthusiast, you know that the combination of a 4x4 system with a rear locking differential plus a 6-speed manual transmission is still the best combination whenever you're going out on an off-road trail. Even in stock format, this Ranger XL feels like an off-roader already because it doesn't have a step board, so you'll have to climb into the truck in order to access the driver's seat. Now, thankfully, we have here a grab handle on the A-pillar, which should help you and your passengers climb into this vehicle. Now, guys, this is the Base-Spec Ford Ranger, so I'm not really expecting much here inside the cabin, but I am pleasantly surprised to see that some of the tech upgrades that were done to the higher trim Rangers also made their way to this Base-Spec model. You see, the gauge cluster here is the same 8-inch digital gauge cluster that can be found in the higher trim. Now, that's something that I didn't expect to see, but we get that here. Now, the second thing that I didn't expect to see is the infotainment system. I mean, for a truck that's meant for fleet accounts or for farm use, or and stuff like that, I would expect to see like a 1-din or a 2-din radio, and it's going to be all right. The thing is, Ford went the extra mile here because we still get a 10-inch portrait-style touchscreen infotainment system here that, my friends, get this, it's also equipped with wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. Now, I had to confirm that myself, and as you're seeing right now, yes, it does have wireless Android Auto. How cool is that, my friends? Now, granted, it doesn't get a reverse camera, not an issue, this is still the base model, guys. So yeah, I am still just so happy to see that we have this infotainment system and that digital gauge cluster. Now, what makes me happier here is the fact that we have a 6-speed manual transmission. Hashtag save the manuals. I'm a certified Tito of Manila here, guys. And we also have this knob right beside the shifter that shifts you from 2 high, 4 high, and 4 low. Now, another bit of good news here is, despite being a base model, this 4x4 Ranger XL also gets a rear locking differential. Now, that makes this quite the capable off-roader. So yes, it is truly the perfect candidate for an off-road enthusiast who loves to modify his ride. Now, we also have here a manual handbrake. Plus, of course, the cabin materials is what you'd expect from like a workhorse truck. We get hard plastics all around. Granted, there's still some nice textured finishes here on the dashboard. The door cards also has some nice texture to it. But yeah, you don't really get much soft touch materials here. Since the Ranger XL doesn't get a stepboard, well, it's a bit of a big step up climbing into this vehicle. So if you're a vertically challenged person, or if you have shorter legs, well, you might have a tough time getting into this back seat. Now, since this is the Base-Spec Ranger in the local lineup, don't expect to get any toys here, guys, because you really won't get any. Now, the only amenity I see here is a 12-volt charging outlet, so at least we still have that. Now, in terms of space though, the back seat is quite spacious, and in fact, if you have like 3 of your pahinantes here in the back seat, well, it's going to be quite comfortable for all 3 of them. At the end of the day, the Ford Ranger XL 4x4 with a 6-speed manual transmission delivers in the areas that matter the most. Now, for less than 1.2 million Philippine pesos, this, my friends, is quite the compelling choice. Thanks for watching.